and we have my son Elijah. He's the co-host. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell, and for future updates. And we do offer memberships. Become a special friend. We do have several people who have joined, and we want to send love out to our new members. So consider becoming a member. We just started Instagram 2.0. Join, subscribe to that, join that. We are going to be loading a lot of great information, and we do have a new channel called Pray Till All Here. So go over there and subscribe to Pray Till All Here. I'm going to be having prayers and featuring Philip Anthony Mitchell. He's my pastor. He's a man of God. I just love him to death. I found him on YouTube, and he's amazing. So check him out and check out that channel, because we start our day with God, and we ask God to bless us indeed, enlarge our territories, that his hand will be with us and keep us from harm. And God granted our request. So you see, I got the Shiloh jersey on. He's playing with the Buccaneers today. So this is going to be a short video, because we got to see Travis Hunter. I just got my Colorado gear, y'all. They got to settle on their numbers. I mean, I'm going to get the jerseys for the teams. Here go Travis, Shiloh. So I'm going to have Shador, Shiloh, and Travis, for their new NFL team. So we were looking forward to it. But we want to get to Zelenskyy and Putin and Trump. And there's a lot going on, and I believe that we have to be listening right now, because this could escalate. I think that we're dealing at a time that something like a country as small as Ukraine can launch us into a World War III if the leaders aren't careful. Because you have Putin, who is he's the second world power. You have Trump, we're the first world power. So they're meeting in Alaska. And you have Zelenskyy, he's at the kids' table. And, he's complaining, but he's not power. He's not a power of the world, but he can cause a lot of damage if he doesn't learn how to negotiate. And I blame Europe and the former president, because instead of allowing this war to escalate, and they should have prevented war, they allowed this war to continue for over 3 years. So now everything has blown up, and it's now more difficult to end this war. But Trump is bringing Putin to the table. Putin is not going to sit with Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy is not on his level. He doesn't respect him. He looks at Zelenskyy as an actor, as an entertainer, as a clown, as a little dictator. So he doesn't respect him, especially when Zelenskyy put on high heels and switches and all that kind of stuff. Putin is a man's man. So you have to be smart. You have to know how to negotiate with world leaders. And they asked Trump yesterday, when he met with the two former Soviet leaders, what did they think about Zelenskyy, about him like cooperating, or has he learned how to deal with Trump and Putin? And I forget Trump's exact answer to the question, but my answer is that he has not learned how to deal with powerful men. That's way more powerful than he will ever be. So we have to move a certain way as Americans, that we don't thrust ourselves in the world, that we don't get involved to the point that we're fighting over maybe a small square footage, footage of territory that might be taken by Russia, in comparison to the whole Ukraine being blown up. Then you get nothing. To Russia taking over the entire Ukraine. So we all get involved, and Europe is blown up, United States is blown up. We all are blown up for a strip of land that's in Ukraine, and it's not worth it. So we got to have people that have cool heads and be reasonable, because the decisions that they make in Alaska, they're going to include Putin. They're going to include Zelenskyy. But Trump has to meet to talk to Putin, man to man, to then bring Zelenskyy in the next meeting. He wants to sit there, but he doesn't know how to negotiate. He would be the little kids at the table. Oh, no, I don't want this. No, we can't do that. No, you can't have that, because Putin is not that type of leader. You got to look at Russia is the second most powerful country in the world. And the United States is the most powerful, but Russia have allies just like we do. Their allies are China. There's a billion of them. What is it, 382 million Americans? It's a billion of them. And then they have North Korea. So we have to know how to tread lightly, but Zelensky doesn't care. He already said, the United Big Guns, he wants us to fight his war because he has no more bodies. He wants the United States to fight the war for a strip of land when this could turn into a World War III and everyone's land is destroyed. Everyone is affected. Because if you drop one nuclear bomb, it's going to affect all of us because it's going to travel throughout the air, the radiation. So we don't want countries to start dropping bombs. You drop the bomb on us, we're going to drop a bomb on you. No, we don't want to play that game. So I'm happy that he's able to get Putin to come to the table. So we're going to just hear some of the negotiations, what's going on, and we're going to react to it. But we got to start somewhere.
This in-person meeting between leaders of the U.S. and Russia since Moscow launched its deadly 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Putin reportedly told U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff this week that he's willing to halt the war if Ukraine simply hands over the Donbass region in the eastern part of the country. Fred Fleitz served as former National Security Council Chief of Staff. He joins us now to react. Thank you, Fred, for joining us this morning. Do you have confidence that Putin is actually coming to negotiate, or is he trying to buy time?
I think there's some good signs. I think we have to first stipulate that critics of Trump who are claiming that it's an outrageous concession for Trump to meet with Putin are just dead wrong. It should be normal for American and Russian presidents to meet to promote good relations. Joe Biden was wrong in not speaking to Putin, even by phone, since February 2022. And we don't know where these negotiations will actually come out, but there's actually been movement. Previously, Putin wanted control of all regions along the current front line. Now he's asking for control of Donetsk and Luhansk, most of which Russia already controls. That's going to be hard for Ukraine to accept. But look, in negotiations, parties typically come in with opening positions that have to be negotiated. We have to bridge the gaps.
Yeah, so speaking of that, Zelensky is saying that he does not intend to give up any land. Listen to this.
No one will retreat from this, and Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier. Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are without Ukraine, are at the same time decisions against peace. They will not achieve anything. These are dead solutions. They will never work.
You know what? Just to pause there, I don't believe that Zelensky wants to bring this war to an end. And that's my personal opinion. I believe that there's money in war. If they end the war, then they can have elections. They could remove him from power. They could vote him out of office. There are people probably in Europe that doesn't want the war to end. They want the war to continue. And if you're saying that you're unwilling to make any kind of negotiations when your people are crying in your country, they want the war to end. They want, if you look at some of the, like what's going on in Ukraine, they want the war to end because all these young people are dying, all the men are dying. It's to the point that they want old people over 60 to join the war. So they're running out of bodies. So you're trying to save land, but what about saving lives? You're going to save land and have no people. You have to negotiate because this is out of hand. So you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But if you think you're going to stand, oh, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, you're a little power. You don't have that kind of power. He thinks that he's as big as Russia and the United States of America, and he doesn't understand his role. And his role should be about the welfare of the people. You're not going to have citizens. You're just going to have women and no men and no older men. So he has to think of his people because you're not going to get everything back. You're not, because you're not going to. If you wanted something to happen positively, something should have been done as soon as it got started, before Putin became empowered. Because the more he's taking, the more empowerment has been given to him. And the way he look at it, he can crush Ukraine if he so desired. He can crush them, and he knows it. He knows he could take all of it. The little strip that they have taken or whatever, and they're willing to give some back, then that you got to put stuff on the table, whatever you need to do, but you need it to end. The whole objective should be for the war to end. And he has to understand what his role is. And I don't think he does. We're not going to fight his war for him. His people, he's running out of people to fight his war for him. Go ahead.
To read the comment.
Go ahead.
They said, so you don't actually support ending the war?
My whole point is ending the war. You have to negotiate. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. If you are a leader, then and you have people under you, you're supposed to look at the welfare of the people, and you have to be reasonable and you have to be realistic. What can you do and how can you solve it for the best interest of your people? If you're just doing all this and you're not willing to make any concessions, and you're saying, oh, the Constitution is this, and we not give anything to occupiers, well, guess what? That occupier could take over your whole goddamn country. And he's willing to give land back. You don't have any more people to die for you. You don't have anybody. And if the world gets involved, what are we going to fight over? A small strip of land? But United States going to be blown up. Europe going to be blown up. China going to, all of us going to be blown up. And this is all over. We got to be a strip of land. And they're going to wind up with nothing. There will be no Ukraine. So we have to have cool heads. And that's why he can't be a negotiation, because everything that would be said, he'll be at the little kids' table not trying to negotiate with people who have world power. Putin is a freaking second most powerful man in the world. That's who he's dealing with. And that's why he's only talking to the United States, because Trump is the most powerful man in the world. We have the big guns. He doesn't. And Trump told him, the only reason why you got your chest out is because you're standing behind the United States of America. And he never tried to negotiate with Putin for 3.5 years. Neither did Europe. And now, United States is not our war. We're just trying to mediate. It's not our war. We don't want war. But you have to negotiate. All leaders have to compromise. You have to negotiate, but because you have to look at it that it can escalate and nobody wins. This is an endless war. Nobody is winning. They both have lost as far as I'm concerned. Putin has lost and Ukraine has lost. They both have lost. And you can't replace life. You can replace buildings. But if they start dropping, Ukraine don't have nuclear weapons, but Russia does. They do. And so does China. So they don't care. They said there are people that want this negotiation, even with Trump simply meeting with him. Who has met with Putin since this war has started? Who has met with him? Did Biden meet with him? Did anyone from Europe meet with Putin? Did Zelenskyy meet? Nobody met with him. This is the first meeting that this man has agreed to meet with President Trump in the United States on United States soil. That is what you call a beginning. Trump is not going to solve the war. This is bringing Putin to the table, and then he can bring Zelenskyy to the table and they can meet. That's called negotiation. That's what's happening. But Zelenskyy, he wants to remain president. He liked the power. They taking people off the streets. His citizens want the war to end. Who wants war? Nobody wants war. But they're relying on an actor that they put in office that's more into power and money than about what's happening to the people are crying out in that country. The footage that's being leaked out, and with the regular people in Ukraine, they don't want this. They don't want this. They want the war to stop. They want the war to end. And they are protesting, they're complaining. They don't want this. They don't want, they cannot beat Russia. Let's just start with that. Let's start with that. Like Trump said, the war should have never happened, but now that we are here, he's bringing them to the table. And he has to start with Putin, because Putin is the big dog. Zelenskyy is at the kids' table. Putin's the big dog. You got to start with the big dog. You got to get him to come to the table. Because he's the one that invaded the country. It was Putin. So he got to negotiate with him and try to set the table, then to bring Zelenskyy in. And that's how this is going to go down.
Zelenskyy is saying that he does not intend to give up any land. Listen to this.
Відступати від цього.
No one will retreat from this, and Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier. Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are without Ukraine, are at the same time decisions against peace. They will not achieve anything. These are dead solutions. They will never work.
Right. So is that just an opening negotiation, or do you think he's standing firm on that?
I think it is Zelensky's opening position, and I've long believed that the way to end this war is to freeze it along the current battle lines. It could be that both sides will cede some territory. Maybe Russia's going to give back Zaporizhzhia. There's been some discussions about that. I think Russia's probably going to want to hold on to Crimea, which Ukraine can't reasonably get back. But I mean, this is the beginning of a process. I think that's promising.
Okay, I want to turn to Israel now. We know that.
So, for people, what is your solution to ending this war? How are you going to end the war? What's the solution to ending this war? What's the solution? Yeah, it's Ukrainian land. Guess what? There ain't going to be no damn land. There's not going to be any land. That little footage that Russia have is not worth losing it all. It is not worth more Ukrainians dying. Because they can't beat up Russia. They can't beat up Russia. And if everybody else get involved, it's not going to be about that little strip. Everybody going to be hurt. Everybody going to be bombed. It could escalate into a World War III. It literally can. From that, oh, it's theirs. Like that little strip that they're negotiating for Ukraine to get some of that land back. I mean, you got to start somewhere. I don't live in Ukraine. I don't even like Zelenskyy or Putin, neither one of them. I'm American. It's American. I don't even want us involved. Like Trump need to just let them fight it out. Let y'all just keep on. Let Putin keep on taking more of the land, because y'all can't stop him. Trump is stopping them. He's trying to negotiate. But do it your way. Let Putin continue to take more of the land. See that little bit he got that he's willing to give at Kyiv or whatever? Then let him take more. And guess what? Ukrainians are out of people. So who are they going to send in next? The women? Go let the women fight. Y'all just y'all have land and everybody be dead. Does that make more? That's a better resolution.
Custer said, pretty simple. Everyone go back to their own land prior to the invasion. Then he asked, if Russia invaded and took 1/5 of the U.S., would you give it to them?
He's not going to invade us because we're powerful. You talking about Ukraine is not a big dog. You can't put Ukraine in the same census with the United States of America. It's totally different. Totally different. The president of the United States, the former president, should have stopped it from happening in the beginning. But you can't be 3.5 years into a war and then nobody talked to anyone. Who talked to Putin? Did Europe talk to Putin? Did Zelenskyy? Nobody said shit. And y'all act like Trump somehow is supposed to be what is he supposed to be?
Boogeyman?
The what?
Boogeyman?
Yeah, Trump supposed to be the person supposed to solve all of this crap that's been going on. It's not going to happen like that. It's not going to go back to what it was. We know that. It's not, everything is not going to go back. That's why they got to make a compromise. Because too much has been done. Russia lost too many lives and say, okay, we did all this for nothing. They're not going to do that. And you know it.
Turner Jr., you're literally a junior.
They're not going to say, oh, we done lost thousands, tens and thousands of soldiers and all this, and we're going to go back to nothing. They're going to get something out of it. They are. And Zelenskyy and Ukrainians are going to be able to keep the majority of their country. That's what they're going to get. Or they can fight it out. Let them fight it out and see how much land Ukraine winds up with. Let them fight it out. See how many people. They got to send the women in next because they don't have no people. Let them send the women in next and let them start blowing up over there over Europe. That okay. Let them handle it. Let them handle it. I think that's the best thing. Let Ukraine handle its problems. Yeah, I think they need to let Ukraine and Russia, y'all need to just let them fight it out because y'all got the answers. Let them fight it out. Send the women in next because there's no more men. They're talking about sending the old people 60 and older. So let them fight it out and see how much land that Ukraine wind up with. That's all. I think that's a great idea because nobody wants to come to the table. But Zelenskyy, he's welcome at the table, but it's not his time yet. Trump has to see where Putin head is at. What is Putin, the second most powerful man in the world, what is he willing to do and give? He has to start and talk to him without the little chihuahua intervening like a little child. He has to learn how to deal with world leaders, powerful. The most powerful world leaders. He's not powerful. He the new kid on the block. He's new to the game. So he need to let them talk. They're not settling anything. Then he can talk to Zelenskyy, President Trump, and let him know what Putin has said, the concessions he's willing to make, and the compromises. And then Zelenskyy can say what he will compromise with, what he won't compromise with. But the whole point in any type of leader, you have to start communicating. You have to talk. So sitting down is a start. You got to start somewhere. Or just let them battle it out. You know. And the people that have something to say is not over there fighting the war. Because next, I don't know who goes in. The women must be next. You know, this is because I'm getting ready for the game. But this is like...
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said that Ukraine could not violate its constitution on territorial issues and would not give their land to occupiers. Speaking earlier, he added that any solutions without Kyiv would be solutions against peace. This comes following the confirmation that U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, will be meeting next Friday in Alaska for their first face-to-face meeting since 2019. Speaking at the White House early on Friday, President Trump signaled that Russia and Ukraine were inching closer to signing a ceasefire deal. Well, Moscow has confirmed the meeting and said that they'd invited Donald Trump to visit Russia following the Alaska summit. President Putin has repeatedly said any discussions to end the war would have to include guarantees that the 4 parts of Ukraine occupied during the conflict would remain in Russian control. Aronadayat Mukherjee has more.
It's official. President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin will be meeting next week, their first in-person meeting since 2019. Confirming on social media, President Trump said the highly anticipated talks would take place on Friday, the 15th of August in Alaska. Interestingly, a meet on U.S. territory, positioning Mr. Trump as the host, holding talks on land that the U.S. purchased from Russia more than a century and a half ago. The announcement came after a meeting between Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin earlier this week, a conversation they described to be constructive. On Friday evening, President Trump indicated that talks will possibly include discussions over territory.
So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
Kyiv would be watching anxiously. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has repeatedly made it clear that his country must be involved in any talks between Russia and the US. There are concerns that without his voice, Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin could agree to concessions that Kyiv may not want.
We are keeping up our talks with partners to find a common position for a solid peace for Ukraine, a real peace. And if everyone can see the opportunities and threats the same way, then we'll be able to get to a lasting peace. There is already a lot of support, and this support is based in the new circumstances when a deadline has been set for Russia for a ceasefire.
The Kremlin has confirmed the talks, calling Russia and the US close neighbors bordering each other. Donald Trump has prided himself in getting peace deals done around the world and has been impatient to see a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. But in the past, 3 rounds of talks between the two countries have failed to bring the war closer to an end. 3.5 years since Moscow's full invasion. Will this face-to-face summit lead to something different? Arunodaya Mukherjee, BBC News, Washington.
Well, earlier I spoke to Alexander Murishko, who is chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Ukrainian Parliament.
It vividly brings back memories about Munich 1938, because we have very similar situation. First of all, the fate of the country, which is a victim of aggression, is being decided by 2 great powers without participation of this country. So it's a very dangerous situation for Ukraine. And Ukraine should also participate, the president of Ukraine should also participate in these negotiations. And the second big issue, which is reminiscent of Munich 1938, is related to the fact that the aggressor can be rewarded, not punished, for the crime of aggression and for occupation of the territories. It's extremely dangerous situation, not only for Ukraine, but also for international law and for the whole world.
back this plan. What sort of conversations can you share with us in terms of what those European leaders are thinking or feeling in terms of those talks coming up next week?
I don't know much about these conversations or phone talks which have been held recently because they're confidential, but from what I know, our European leaders are very concerned because they don't understand what's going on. They understand that Putin might be again playing President Trump, and Putin is demanding concessions which are aimed not as much to stop the war, to stop the fighting, but to dodge the sanctions from the United States.
Do you think that the US is being fair to Ukraine at the moment?
Thank you.
Well, we see that President Trump, in his own peculiar way, is trying to help Ukraine, but at the same time, we believe that he can and he should do more, and he should do it in such a way which will not violate our security, international law, and our constitution.
And that was Alexander Mereshka there speaking to me earlier.
Wow. So what do you guys think? Should President Trump, should he meet with President Putin? Should there be a meeting at all? Should Trump meet with President Putin? Or should we just let Ukraine and Russia settle their business? Let them work it out. No, absolutely. Wait, that was Biden. Hey. Yes, get it done. Yes, they need to meet. I think personally, is because the only reason why we're speaking on this is because our president is involved with trying to bring peace between Ukraine and Russia. Like he had gotten to the point, he said, look, they've been fighting for so long, they've been about, let them fight it out. But he's concerned. He said it's not American soldiers that are dying. You have all these Ukrainian young men that are dying, and you have Russian young men. And he said, look, it's just like a lot of needless dying is going on, and they're not even negotiating, they're not talking, they're not meeting. No one wants to compromise. So you have to have someone to step in to mediate. So people from Ukraine or people that's doing all this talking that's not fighting in these wars, that they don't want President Trump to intervene, then he needs to just let Zelenskyy try to meet with Putin. Let's see if Putin will meet with Zelenskyy without Trump. See if Europe can get Putin to meet with any of them. Any of them. Because I think that people are not giving even Trump enough credit to bring, nobody's been able to bring Putin to the table.
What has Obama done for black people? Like, you've been against Trump this whole stream, and I see that you're a black woman. What has Obama done for black people? Look at all the things that Trump has done for black people, and reverse what Biden has done, the former president, to black people. Like, black people are so lost.
Well, Jesus be back before black people wake up. I understand. We're like some of the slowest people on earth, that after all that we've been through and been done to us, we don't look at policy, we don't look at history, and I blame myself for that. I actually voted for Biden to come out to be in office, not realizing that Biden was the author of the 1994 crime bill that caused mass incarceration of black men. And I closed my ears to the Democrat Party started the KKK. I thought that was the Republicans. Jim Crow, I thought it was Republicans.
Trump has done, here, I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Trump
It's crazy.
Trump has done the First Step Act for black people to get black people out of jail who's there for minor offenses, and he's given a lot of money to HBCUs.
That wasn't Obama, that was Trump. And we didn't try to even put him in office when he ran the first time, when he did the First Step Act. And Obama couldn't get it passed in Congress. Trump got it passed in
Obama has
Congress.
done nothing for black people.
Oh, no, he's the LGBTQ president. He was not the president for black people. He was the president to go against the word of God. That's the president that he was. He moved the Democratic Party even more left once he became president. He wasn't interested in black people. And the other thing I want to say, I thought it was the Republicans that was against the Civil Rights Bill. I didn't know it was the Republicans that voted unanimously for it, that was pushing it forward, and it was the goddamn Democrats that filibustered it for 70 days to stop the Civil Rights Bill. But somehow through history, they were able to flip the party and act like they were the party of the people. And that's why black people are still suppressed, because we so dumb. We don't even know how they have gaslighted us. They promised us nothing. They do nothing for us. And they want to act like that we need the help of the government, that we need SNAP, we need Section 8s and all of that, when God created us all with the same capabilities, with the same color brains, and that we can get an education, become whatever we want to become, which we do, because the majority of black people are successful. See, they show you in the news the ones that's barely making it and need assistance, but it's more white people and immigrants or whatever that's receiving the benefits that they said was supposed to be for black people in the first place.
Ryan, God gives us all free will. God,
all of us free will.
Everyone gets free will on Earth. If you didn't know that.
You know,
but asking how much the HBCUs, like, we're supposed to know.
You know, so it's just amazing, but like, we have to find these things out. But that's my challenge now, because I'm an activist, I'm an organizer, and a legislative director. I've given speeches, canvas, phone bank, you name it. That's me, Miss Raleigh. I'm the Raleigh person, the person out there doing all them big rallies. That's what I normally was doing for the Democratic Party. But now I see that the Republican Party, they don't rally, they just vote. Yeah. They look at the facts and they see what's best for the country, whereas Democrats don't do. Because if we can't see that there's no leadership there, that they don't fight for us, they don't even talk about Americans. They have hurt us when they open up the borders. It affects all of us. We're all in it together, all of us. And we got our president that's supposed to be focusing on America first. He's trying to help all these other nations, just like he did. I did a look at the live I did yesterday with the former Soviet leaders that have been fighting for 30 years, and he's brought peace to them. They signed a peace agreement yesterday, and they said that, let me be clear, without him, President Trump, this would not have happened. That they've been trying to do it for years. So he's making a freaking difference. But I want him to be able to focus on what's happening here in our country. And the next election, not 2026, you're going to have more black people, but 2028, we're going to learn, stop voting for identity politics, like straight down Democrat ballot. Don't even look at the candidates. Don't even look what they stand for, and vote on policies. That's the goal now, to get the word out. So they earn our votes.
Brian, the price was already up because of Joe Biden, Bidenomics. He's saying
Bidenomics was working for you, right?
He's saying price is going up now.
Bidenomics was working for you. We know. We know we're in this mess because of that former party. Trump is the cleanup man. The two wars that was under their watch they started, the high interest rate, the inflation, people can't even buy houses, all this stuff, open borders, men and women's sports, can't define a woman, all this was under their watch. Trump is the broom. He the cleanup man. He been cleaning up the mess that they caused. And they want to continue causing mess for us. They don't fight for us. And they never need to be in office ever again, period. Nobody's going to follow a non-leader. When I thought they couldn't do any worse, they got, what's his name, Madani. Socialists. People fleeing countries because of socialism, and he wants to bring it to America, to the largest city in America. 2 thumbs up for that, Democrats. Good luck. Good luck with that.
New York's it's just done.
It's Batman. What is it? Gotham City without Batman. That's the new New York. I love New York. It's crazy. But anyway, getting back on topic. Sorry, you guys. We spazzed out. But getting back to Zelenskyy, you have to have people negotiating. He cannot enter the room with Putin. Putin is not going to sit down because he's not on his level. Putin is a man's man. He look at Zelenskyy as an actor. He doesn't respect him. He's not going to meet with someone that he doesn't respect. And now he's saying that he's not going to make concessions. He's not going to do this and that. He wants to be at the table. Trump is not going to end the war without you, Zelensky. That's not going to happen. But he needs to sit down, because nobody sat down with Putin. If he could sit with Putin, Trump need to step away. Let Zelensky handle it. Let all the people that got something to say, let y'all need to handle it. That's all. If Zelensky can handle it, let him. He think he don't have to give up war, any land. Well, Putin can take more land. That by far. He can take more. He could take more. He could sit around and act like he got a leg to stand on, but he doesn't. He should be happy that President Trump is trying to at least negotiate, to get the negotiations going. That's all that's being done.
Mela, I already told you what Trump has done for black people. You just are refusing to listen.
See, what he has to do, what Trump is trying to do is open up the negotiations. You have to have people. You're not going to end anything unless you bring the two parties together. They have to talk. And if Zelensky doesn't need Trump to intervene, let him set up a meeting with Putin. Let anyone in Europe set up a meeting with Putin. I want to see how that's going to work for them. Let Trump step away, because nobody did anything for 3.5 years. Nobody, Trump said, y'all didn't even try to meet with this man. Nobody said, let Zelensky do it. I want to see Zelensky try to make a phone call to Putin. Anyone in Europe, make a phone call. Because there's stuff going on. They're trying. It's going to be interference. I'm going to try to find it with the meeting. You could be wrong. I want to see, like, yeah, you have people that are that's going to try to interfere with them even meeting. So they don't want the war to end. I'm going to find out for you. They do not want this war to end. They want the war to continue. And all it's going to be is more loss of lives. But I think that since it's the Zelensky problem and Putin's problem, let them solve it. And Trump needs to mind his business and let them handle it. Because all he gets is blowback anyway. You know, because if someone has a better way of doing this, share with us. How should this work? Because Putin is not giving. He don't have to listen to anything Zelensky says. He doesn't even have to compromise. That's the truth.
Ryan, after they release the list, what's going to be your next talking point? Because that's their talking point now.
President Trump set to meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin next Friday in Alaska to discuss a path forward on a potential peace deal with Ukraine. Lucas Tomlinson is at the White House with more on these fast-moving details. Lucas, what can you tell us?
Well, good morning, Brian. The news broke on Special Report with Brett Baer last night. President Trump will be meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska this Friday. Trump acknowledged while talking about it, ending Russia's war in Ukraine will not be easy.
Not easy.
It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but
Yeah.
We're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
Now, it's not clear what territory would be swapped, Brian. Russia occupies about 20% of Ukraine, and Ukraine only controls about 30 square miles of Kursk after it launched an incursion into Russia last year. Some think Putin agreed to Alaska so his plane isn't shot down while flying elsewhere. Alaska was purchased from Russia in 1867, Russia needing the money, of course, after the Crimean War. The price, $7.2 million, about 2 cents an acre. Now, some Eastern Europeans are afraid this summit is heading to another Munich-like moment. Before World War II, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy left out of the talks, ruled out ceding any land to Russia, posting on X this morning, quote, President Trump announced preparations for his meeting with Putin in Alaska, very far away from this war, which is raging on our land, against our people, and which anyway can't be ended without us, without Ukraine. Now, a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine remains elusive. Russian drones manufactured with the help from China and Iran continue to rain down almost a nightly basis across Ukraine, hitting and killing civilians. Russia makes more ammunition today than all of NATO combined right now, including the United States.
Wow.
Putin spends 40% of his budget on the military, and Putin has been wary about letting these soldiers in Ukraine return home. And Ukraine says 20,000 of his children have been taken captive by Russian soldiers. Now, some foreign policy experts say that it was Trump's tariffs on India that led to Putin agreeing to this summit. Trump saying he's going to double tariffs on India, of course, a major importer of Russian oil. And before Russia's full-scale invasion, Brian, India only imported a small fraction of its oil from Russia. It now gets about 40% of its oil from Russia.
Lucas Thompson live at the White House. Lucas, thank you for that report. Now, as President Trump and Putin prepare for Friday's meeting, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says his people won't give up any territory to Russia. So is a deal still possible? Former Deputy National Security Advisor Victoria Coates is with me now. Victoria, thank you so much for being here. A lot has changed in just the last 24 hours, certainly. The big question here is something that Lucas alluded to. We saw this in 2014 when it came to Crimea. Putin asked for a peace deal. A peace deal was brokered. And then 8 years later, we had the current Ukraine war. It did not last. He was able to gain more military leverage, was able to prepare for that invasion. Are you concerned that this is exactly what Vladimir Putin wants to do this time? Freeze and pause this to avoid tariffs and sanctions now for then further military escalation later?
Some stuff just costs more, except airfare.
I don't know. What do you think that Putin, why did he agree with Trump to meet at all? Are we building better relations?
Well, Brian, it's a valid concern, but I think we have a very different president here with President Trump than President Obama. And I think President Trump is interested in getting to a resolution of this war from a position of strength. So look at what he's done with NATO. This is very far from what President Obama did. He's gotten our NATO allies to commit to 5% of GDP on defense. And that dwarfs anything Russia can do. Yes, they're producing, as Lucas reported, a lot more ammunition than we do. We need to get after that, but we can do it. The combined economies of the EU and United States put Russia to shame. And Putin has a lot of other economic problems, and I agree, as you said, that India is going to be a major player in this. But India is a partner and ally to us. So yes, the president's been tough on them recently. He should be to get their attention. But that's a relationship that can very much, again, contribute to his position of strength going into these negotiations.
Right, so we talked about India, which is purchasing Russian oil, which is why the United States and why President Trump has increased tariffs. I want to talk to you about Zelensky's point of view here. Now, he is not being included in these talks on August 15th in Alaska, at least not yet. And it seems like this is going to be a two-phase thing, reportedly. The first phase, they pause the lines, and then the second phase is they agree to some sort of a peace deal that is then agreed upon by Zelensky. And Zelensky's saying, I'm not giving up any land. And the president said yesterday he thinks that there'll be a swap of territory. And if I want to pull up the map here, 20% of Ukraine is now under control by Russia. What kind of a swap of land do you think can happen here? And when you have Zelensky saying, I am not interested at all in ceding any of that territory that you see in red there to the Russians?
Well, I think, of course, both Russia and Ukraine are going to take sort of maximalist positions now going into negotiations. And Putin has shifted a little bit on his willingness to meet with Zelensky. 10 days ago, it was absolutely off the table. He'd never do it. Now there are apparently some circumstances under which he will. We'll see what happens on August 15th. But I think, in terms of land swaps, if you go back to the end of World War II and the establishment of the Soviet Empire in Eastern Europe and all of those countries, including Ukraine, including Azerbaijan and Armenia, both of which, the heads of which were at the White House yesterday signing a historic peace deal, they were all under Soviet domination, but the United States never recognized that. We always recognized them as sovereign, independent nations. We had what we called Captive Nations Week every year in the Congress, and eventually they were liberated again. So I think the key thing is not to recognize any kind of Russian domination over Ukrainian territory. And Zelensky said as much in February when he was talking about this, that he would never recognize it. That's absolutely his right. And so I think this is going to be a difficult negotiation. Everyone may wind up being equally unhappy, as President Trump says, but the key is to get to that ceasefire, end the killing, and then start the rebuilding of Ukraine.
Victoria, I guess ultimately the question here is also when it comes to Zelensky, if we have Putin and Trump sitting in a meeting and they agree to a peace deal, do you see any world here where Zelensky can ally with the Europeans and say, no, I'm not going to accept that deal? Or do you think Zelensky finds himself in a place where he will be forced to have to accept a deal brokered by Russia and the United States?
I don't think it's going to be that draconian, Brian. I mean, I know the president is engaging with our European allies on this, on these negotiations. He's consulting with the United Kingdom, France, Germany. And so I think that they are going to be bought into any agreement. And of course, they've said, you know, Ukraine will have to be part of any final negotiation. This is really, I think, President Trump exploring what might be possible with Putin at this point in time.
That's what I
And
believe.
my last quick question, just 20 seconds, Victoria. The fact that this meeting is happening in Alaska, some critics have said that this means that Putin has already won. The fact that he has been invited by the United States to U.S. territory to have this conversation. Your response to that quickly.
No, I think that it's absolutely the opposite. This is a home game for President Trump. Alaska is a territory we bought, as Lucas was saying, from the Russians in the 19th century. It's now one of the cornerstones of our energy dominance, and we're going to expand that energy production. That's hardly a win for Putin.
Victoria Coates, thank you so much for your expertise. I learned a lot there. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So did I. Woohoo! Well, anyway, there is so much going on, but you guys, we're most definitely going to be streaming that meeting between, you know, Trump. One thing I like about him that he's transparent. So I'm assuming that when they sit down and meet, that they're going to allow us to be in on the meeting, some of it, because I'm quite sure there's going to be closed doors negotiation that's going on. But I expect us to be invited into the room, and as well as Zelensky, but Trump is the mediator. He has to get the big dog to the table, and they have to sit down and they have to negotiate. And if you're a leader, you know that's how it's done. People who aren't leaders, they're like, oh, we don't have to do this or that. Well, that's why you're in the situation that you're in. You got to start somewhere. You have to open up the dialogue, and that's what Trump is doing. But he needs to talk to Putin face to face. He's coming on American soil, and he's meeting with him in the United States, and that's going to hopefully, you know, the relationship between the two countries. That's going to reestablish a relationship, because we need to keep our enemies close to us. You ever heard that statement? You keep your enemies close to you, so you know what they're doing. But it's a start. We don't need little chihuahuas and people going off, and they haven't even met. And all these people, no one has accomplished meeting with President Putin. You got to start with him, and to bring an end to this war. You got to start with him. You got to start there. He's the start. Did you find it, Elijah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to start. I wish that we didn't have to be involved in it, but it appears that nothing's going to get done without our president bringing these people to the table. He's going to sit with Putin, see where his head is at, where he's at, because he knows that Trump is a negotiator. He's a problem solver. Zelensky isn't. Zelensky just wants to bark, and he doesn't have any power to bark. So he needs to let Trump negotiate, then bring him in, and then they can decide between the two countries what they will agree to. It will be Zelensky's choice at the end of the day. He will be making decisions. But the thing is that either you want to come to the table, because you're not coming to the table unless Trump make it happen. And that's whoever, if anyone disagrees that believe with that, then say so. Do you think Zelensky is going to get Putin to come to the table, sit down and talk with him? That he going to tell Putin what he going to do and not going to do?
I see a lot of people in the chat complaining about terrorists. What's your take on
Well, the terrorists is why Putin is coming to the table, because the terrorists he put on Russia, and then he told India, the terrorists, that he doubled down on them because they were buying oil from Russia. So terrorists do make a difference. They're not doing stuff willingly. Trump got to turn the knife on them. He knows how to get a reaction out of them. He knows what he's doing. But there are people who don't want this to happen. There are people that don't want them to come together. There are people that don't want them to negotiate. Everyone doesn't want the war to end. They're already talking about that. Everyone doesn't want the war to end. Trying to see if I can find where the guy was saying, Ukraine, I give a link, that yeah, they don't want the war to end. So that's a dilemma right there.
Someone said, listen to all the Democrats in the chat crying because they lost.
Yeah, but P, they don't know. It's like they're, it's surprising that some of these people are adults that they don't understand that about negotiations. Like you have to have people to negotiate, especially something like a war. How are you going to end a war and there's nobody negotiating for the end of the war?
Yeah, but you know what's the problem with it? They can't admit one good thing Trump has done. Anytime they talk about Trump and something bad, that's when you know they're brainwashed.
Well, they can say what they want to say, but there is no end to this. And Zelensky doesn't want to end, and there are people in Europe that doesn't want it to end.
Someone said, get me on a call. I will school the two of you.
Get on your own channel and school, see who will listen to you. Start there. Start with your own channel and see who will listen to you.
The Democrats have destroyed this country. That's why we assume it's the Democrats.
So you know what? What we're concerned about is America first. We're for America first. What's going on between Putin and Zelensky, let them settle it. I think you guys really would agree to that. Because you're against Trump, you don't want his involvement, you don't want the war to end, Zelensky doesn't want to compromise, nobody wants to, so just let him and Putin, let them fight it out. That's a resolve. Because you can't be at the kids' table making the most of the demands. Putin, if y'all know anything, and we're not like, this is just from observation. We can see that this man is not going to go along with people he doesn't respect. He's not going to go along with what Zelensky has to say. But if he can do a better job and he can negotiate, then God willing, let him solve the problems that's going on inside of his country. He's the president. Let him solve his problems. Let him solve his problems, because our president is solving our problems here in the United States of America. So let him solve his problems. Let him solve his problems. You know, that's the best thing, because we have our own issues. Every country has their own issues. He's not the president. President Trump, since people have a problem with it, let Zelensky, let Putin meet, and let Trump step out of it. Let Zelensky set up these meetings. Let Europe, that's been sitting back while this has been going on for 3.5 years, that nobody tried to bring this man to the table, let them handle it. And let Trump step aside. Because if Zelensky thought that little strip of land that's being occupied, that Russia is willing to get some of it back, Putin could take a hell of a lot more. He could take a hell of a lot more. So it's fine. Let him keep on taking land, because that's what he's able to do that. He's the second most powerful country in the world. Is Russia. It's Russia. And Putin is no joke.
Who have you guys liked their performance better in handling this war with Russia and Ukraine? Did you like Joe
That's
Biden?
a good question.
Yeah, did you like Joe Biden, how he handled it more, giving Ukraine all that money? Or do you like how Trump is handling it more? Interested to see what people think.
They liked it better, but Biden didn't do anything to stop it. He helped perpetuate the war.
Yeah, did they like that, or do they like what Trump's doing?
An endless war.
How much money to give?
$350 billion of taxpayers' money, and we don't have anything to do with this. This is not our war. It's their war. So since it's their war, they know best. Let them handle it.
Someone said Trump literally almost got us into a nuclear conflict with Russia.
How? So Biden didn't, right? It's amazing that they wanted this war. Biden even tried to get them to escalate the war before he left office.
Someone said love Biden.
So they like somebody that couldn't find his way out of a rainforest. Someone who didn't govern, someone who opened up the borders, someone who celebrated Day of Visibility on Resurrection Sunday, someone who caused high interest rates, eggs too high, gas too high, housing unaffordable, and allowed terrorists, gangs, hitting off 350,000 missing kids. That was such, the list goes on and 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 on. See, this insanity. Yeah. That's just pure insanity. And I voted for him. This is coming from someone who voted for him, but I had no idea this was his objective.
Yeah, Trump sent those submarines to Russia to tell Putin to respect us. They talk about how he sent nuclear submarines to Russia.
You know what? Trump needs to step back and do what Biden did, because they respect that more. He needs to step back. Biden allowed this war to get started. They funded the war, and they were quiet for over 3.5 years and just kept giving out taxpayer dollars and doing all they could for this war to perpetuate and to be where it is today. So that stuff should have been handled years ago. But when you allow something to go on and on and on, then it escalates, and it has escalated. So now what they need to do is step back, just like Biden did. That's what people respect. They said, Biden, do what Biden did. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. We need to just, since that's more respected, then that's what we need to do. We need to step back. Trump, step back. Don't meet with Putin. Let Zelenskyy keep fussing with the UK and get them to send. They get them, because they sending old men now. They want 60 and older to fight that war in Ukraine, because they really running out. They ran out of young people. So they're going to be left with women and no land sooner or later. Women and no land at all. That's what they're going to be left with. So let them handle it. Let Europe try to set up a meeting with Putin. And let Trump stay out of it. Because when Trump steps into it and he's trying to negotiate the peace like he's done so many other nations, then he's the bad guy. And it's a difficult thing as it is. So I think that maybe Trump would have said they like a president like Biden to do nothing.
Isn't Ukraine like flat grounds where it's not so much that covered?
Ukraine is flatland. So the only thing to stop a bullet, Trump said, is a body. So, but they like that better. That's the answer. Trump needs to get out of it. He needs to step out of it. He needs to step out of it. Whichever. Needs to step out of it. Just let them handle it. Let them handle it.
That could lead to World War III.
Yeah, they need to let them handle it. We're over here, they're over there, over there, all Europe, continent of Europe. Let them handle it over there. Let them fight the war. Trump, United States, remove ourselves, step out of it, because they don't respect President Trump. See, you always got to have someone to blame. As long as he's trying to mediate and bring these fools to the table, then it's an issue. So he needs to let them, they want to continue this war, and they think they're going to keep their land, and not going to be no compromise. And I don't know who else is going to fund them, because the United States is broke. We're $36 trillion in debt. We're trying to create jobs and bring money back into our country. So they don't let them handle it. And that'll solve it. And then they can send anybody who wants to go over there and fight for Zelenskyy can go over there and fight that war. They need you. They need to just go ahead. Russia is the aggressor. We know who Putin. Everybody know who Putin is. But people need to find out who Zelenskyy is too. Zelenskyy is a little dictator himself. Ask the people of Ukraine. Y'all need to look at what's going on inside of that country. They want the war to end. They don't want to keep fighting. They want the war to end. We know who the aggressor is. Is that going to end the war? Is that going to end the war because you know who the aggressor is? Y'all don't want Trump to negotiate, mediate, then let him step back. Do what Biden did. Do what Biden has done. He did nothing. So step back, let them battle it out. Let them battle it out. That's all. That seems to work. And then our president can focus on the United States, because he done stop wars for Pakistan and India, Rwanda, the Congo. Yesterday it was Armenia. I forget the other country. He's stopping all these different wars in Gaza and the Iranian war. He stopped the nuclear pursuits of that country, because they were on the verge of having nuclear bombs, that 12-day war. So he's like, and they're saying they want to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize, because he's caused, like, maybe Ukraine and Zelenskyy and Russia and Putin can't come to agreement because they don't want to negotiate. Trump has gone into these other countries that have wars, like the Rwanda and the Congo. They've been fighting for 30 years. 30 years. And nobody stopped it. Here comes Trump. 6 million people have died. That's the genocide. The news don't report about that. The people that was at the White House yesterday, they've been fighting for 30, 35 years. And here goes, they said without Trump, it wouldn't be happening, the peace. So he's making great strides. But this Putin and Russia, Zelenskyy, and Ukraine, they don't want to work anything out. They don't want to work anything out. So just let them just do them. And when Trump get involved, then he become the bad guy. Ukrainians want the war to end. They want the war to end. That's what they want. This president that's propped up there is not a real leader. And he don't know how to deal with the big boys. He does not know how to come to a negotiation and work something out on behalf of his people. He knows, like, that Putin's not going to go for, we all these soldiers died from Russia, and we're going to give you everything back. It's not going to happen. And that's me being a realist. I don't have to know about everything that's going on, because I don't, and I'm not going to pretend to. But I have heard a lot about who Putin is, and he's not going to give everything back, and all the Russian soldiers have died for whatever gains he's made. But he will compromise to get part of the land back. That's better to get part of the land back than have it continue, for him to continue to invade, which he can. He can take more of the land, and more people will die, and they're wanting Ukraine with less land. And then if other people get involved, then that little strip of land, little slither of land, will become a World War III, and everything's bombed up. And then You'll have bombed up land and no people. And no people. You fight for land, but fight for the people, the lives that are going to be lost. You know, people have a better solution than Trump needs to remove himself. That's the solution. Trump needs to remove himself. Let Zelensky and Russia handle this. Let them handle it. No meeting in Alaska. No, he needs not to try to talk to Putin about ending this war. I think that's the way to go. And let Zelensky take a shot at it. Let him tell Putin what to do. Let him say what he going to do, what he not going to do. You know, that's what needs to happen. Trump needs to step aside, because when what he's trying to do, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can't satisfy everyone. No one wants death. Nobody wants war. We can agree upon that. I hope. Hopefully we can agree upon that. Nobody wants that. And because I know how to be a leader, you have to have compromise. You have to have resolution. You have to come to the table. And if Zelensky, all these years, never opened up his mouth, and no one else opened up their mouths until Trump, Biden, y'all prefer for the United States of America president to say nothing, and y'all respect Biden more because he said nothing. He just gave $350 million of our taxpayer dollars, but we're tapped out now, so he won't get any more money. We're not giving any more money. We certainly not going to fight this war. So let them handle it. I think that's the best resolution. And then the people that hate Trump talk about Trump. We know Putin is an aggressor. We know Putin is a dictator. We know all these things. So y'all got to look at the mind of this man, what he will do, what he won't do, and what needs to be negotiated to end the war for the sake of the Russian people and the Ukrainian people. Period. Period. And there are people who don't want the meeting to happen. They want the war to continue. And they're going to do everything they can to continue the conflict, continue the hiccups, continue just keeping everybody going at it. That's what they want to happen. You got people that are out here to do that. They don't want the war to end. And we need to be mindful of that. People don't want it to end. His term been over for a year now.
Zelensky doesn't want it to end.
Yeah, Zelensky don't want it to end. So a lot of people, they're saying they don't want the war to end. They don't want the war to end. So let us remove ourselves. The people that on there, since you talking about coward, you go and fight. Don't talk from over here. You go and you sign up and you fight that war. You go fight the war. And send all your worldly goods over there. That's what you do. Trump needs to remove yourself. Do what Biden did. Say nothing. Because that's respected. Let them handle it.
And give money.
Let this war go on for another how many years? How many more years? Let it just continue with no end in sight. Because that seems like it's like we live in a crazy society. That's always a better option. Let the war just continue. Just continue. How many more years? Let it just go on until there's nothing left.
I'm just shocked to see all adults acting like this.
No. Yeah, let it just go on. That's all. I think that's a better way. See, when you tell them let the war go on, Trump remove himself, then that should make all of them happy that's mad about Trump even meeting to negotiate, to mediate the war, so then he can then tell Zelensky where Putin is at, bring Zelensky in, and Zelensky could say then what he will agree to, what he won't agree to. Y'all don't, That don't work for people. So Trump needs to step back and let them
Battle it out.
let them battle it out. Let it continue. Do what Biden did. Just step away from it, because that seems to work. Nobody said nothing about that. It was complete silence.
Yeah.
For over 3 years, it was a complete silence. Nobody had a problem with the United States saying nothing, allowing them just to
People losing their lives.
just keep fighting it out. So that seems to be what's
The solution.
wanted. And then then what they say, that should be the ones that got something. All the ones that got something to say. That's your remedy. That's your remedy. We'll do what Biden did. Say nothing. Let them just continue to fight it out for 10 more years, 20, however long Ukraine is going to last. Just let them keep fighting it out. Because we all know what Putin is.
If I can get the girl of your dreams.
Okay, but anyway, you guys, see this? My favorite player is playing right now, Travis Hunter. This is a lot longer than one video, but my son wanted to do this live. He felt as though this is so important, but we got to get to the game, because Travis Hunter is playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I got to see my boy Shallow Sanders going to be playing. He's a Buccaneer now. He's hopefully he's going to make that 53 roster, and he's playing against Kim Ward. He was the #1 pick in the draft, so I got to watch them play. So that's why I got my jersey on, and Travis Hunter jersey. But now that they're NFL players, I gotta get those jerseys. I'll be at the game next week that they're gonna be playing at Shador's game. So we're gonna be at that game because I want to see him play. Hopefully he'll get some time, and he did so well yesterday, Shador Sanders. So I'm so happy for him. I'm happy for his family. I'm happy that he had the opportunity. He should have never been the 144th pick, because there were not 143 people better than him, by no means. So that was whole nother topic right there. But one of my favorite players is playing right now. But I'm rooting for Shallow because he is such a stand-up young man. I just like everything about him, and I want him to do well. So I want to watch him play his first NFL game.
No, Mila, you're uneducated on Trump, Mila.
That's why Trump needed to just step away.
Yeah.
Just step away, Trump. Let them handle it. And the people in the chat, they had the best advice. Just without Trump, then they could talk about someone else. Trump needs to step away and let them figure this out. Let them, do what Biden did. Nothing. That seems to work better, and you don't have all the backlash, the people upset, and they flipping it on Trump instead of what's going on between Putin, and they taking their eyes off Zelenskyy. Zelensky's not innocent, y'all. He's not innocent. He by no means is he innocent.
Right, they were talking about him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
He is not innocent at all. You got to look at what he's doing as well. So he's doing a lot of dirt too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on with these leaders. But I think that let them handle it. That seems like that worked better for people when the United States doesn't get involved, because Biden, he allowed the war to happen. He allowed it to take place. He supplied all the money, and they continue fighting. They want this endless war to go on. Ukraine will wind up losing more and more land, and more people will die, and that's seemingly what they want. So the United States, just like Trump had said that time before, just let them, he said they've been fighting, so just let them fight it out. Like, some people just let them go. Let them go. And it seemed like the people, let them go. It's like people who have so much vitriol towards him. It's like when you just step out of it, they agree upon that more than anything. Just let them go ahead and let them,
Like they said, Trump will always be the scapegoat, no matter the good he will do.
Always the scapegoat.
Exactly.
I'd rather see him step out of it. Let them fight it out. Because as long as they can blame him, they're not looking at the situation. What he's trying to achieve here by bringing peace to both of these countries, to get them at the table. And none of them, Putin won't talk to anybody else except for Trump. So, and all these other leaders, and all y'all see them, y'all won't give the man credit, they all saying that things would not have happened, peace in their countries with these 30-year wars, 35-year wars, 12-day wars, all these wars would not have ceased, the Palestinian-Indian war, without Trump. So, maybe this is the one he needs to just let it go.
Like Joshua said, Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. He really does. But this might be one that, he needs to just, might have to just step away, do like Biden did, because it seemed like the people are more in agreement with more lives being taken. Putin will gain more land. Both sides are going to lose more lives. So that seemed like they'd rather do that. And Zelensky will be begging for more billions of dollars, more ammunition, and more of this. And, it's an endless war. So they prefer it that way. That's sometimes how people think. And I'd rather Trump not to be the scapegoat,
Oh. Said the White House is considering inviting Zelensky to Trump-Putin meeting. Hope not.
Yeah, they can't have that little chihuahua there. He don't want peace. They won't be able to negotiate with him barking. They're not going to be able to negotiate because he does not know how to be. He's not a world leader.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to be diplomatic and negotiate. They don't need him barking there. He would interrupt anything they try to do. It would be an interruption by him.
Yeah.
So that's a bad idea to have him there. Let them either just him and Putin meet and Trump remove himself.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, I gotta go watch the game. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And the other channel that I have, Pray to All Here. Go ahead and subscribe to that. It's a new channel. I really want to build it up. I gotta see how God want to lead me. We want to be doing prayer because prayer changes things. And we have an Instagram that we're working on that's new, and a membership. Don't forget to look into our membership. Thank you all our new friends, special friends who have joined from Chevy. We have Debbie P. We have Debbie Gotsi. We have what's his name? Law. I have my book. And then someone say something before we get off. Yeah, Karen Leah Holland, Kay Cooper, Jeremy Stick, Chef Chevy TV, Debbie P, Kevin Law, and Debbie Gotsi. Thank you guys for becoming members of Speak the Truth 2.0. We do love you. And these are just opinions. People need to talk, but what you learn in life, some things you just got to give it to God and pray on it and allow God to direct you. This might be a case even for Trump that he's done so much in 6 months. 6 months, he's done more than our presidents probably the last 12 years have done. I mean, he's done so much for not just the United States, closing the borders. That alone is everything. But what he's doing around the world is incredible. And this might be something that, you can't please the people. This might be something that he needs to step out, sit back, and let them handle it. Because as long as he's involved and the news is going to be about Trump, and no matter what good he does, it's going to turn out like he's the bad guy or whatever the case may be. But if Putin, you think Putin wants to sit with Zelensky, go for it.
Oh, Liberty Bell said, love you both. God bless.
God bless you. But we got to go catch the game. And I'm missing someone I love so much. I love Travis Hunter. And Shiloh will play at 7:30. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. This is just a discussion. We want peace. We don't want Russia and Ukraine fighting. We want both of them.
We don't want World War III.
Yeah, we don't want World War III. And that's a reality. Because we can be dragged into that for a little strip of land, and then everybody loses land. Everyone loses life. Everyone suffers for a little strip of land. It's not worth it. So hopefully they'll be able to negotiate this and bring this to an end. And, and if not, then they just going to have to keep fighting. Let them fight it out. They can't come to agreement. And Zelensky feel like he wants to stay president because he know once the war stops, then they can vote his ass out. And he don't want to be voted out. He like power now. He like how many millions of American dollars has he been able to for his own personal. But he is quite rich, regardless how he's dressing. But his people want the war to end. I do know that. And hopefully he will stop being so stubborn. Like he has a big seat at the table, that he's not going to agree upon anything. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I wonder what President Trump's going to talk with Putin about afterwards.
Yeah, after, well, we're going to stream it, you guys. So August the 15th, we will be streaming it, finding out what's going on, see what they could come to. But I think if Zelensky is here including the meeting, they will get nothing done. That's a fact. Yeah. He going to be doing his news conference. Well, he won't do this, and I'm not going to do that, and our Constitution, he ain't going to do nothing.
Yeah.
So that means the war is going to continue. If he's there, it's not going to be a good negotiation. The war will continue. And then Trump step aside and let them go.
He would try to be the
step aside, let them go, because he's not going to try to bring this to an end. He's already saying he's not going to agree. So he's not even at the table talking about he ain't going to agree upon nothing. So ain't nobody, Russia, Putin is not going to lose all those soldiers and people and don't gain anything. That's just being realistic.
Yeah. Liberty Bell said Americans need to help the UK over Ukraine.
Probably so.
Yeah, I agree with that because they have
Islam's
taken over there.
But if he's a part of the meeting, Trump is not going to get anything done because he's not going to cooperate, and he's going to be in the way, and he doesn't know how to be diplomatic. He doesn't know how to sit at the big boys table, and he wants to come in there saying like, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. He's saying that from afar. So if that's the attitude, that means nothing is going to be resolved, and it will continue. So there you go, your answer.
James said
it will continue.
James said Zelensky has had the opportunity to stop the war multiple times, but he has kept it going because it's a source of income.
Yeah, we know that. If y'all really, thank you for that. We did videos on it. You can look at some of our past videos. We showed Zelensky in his true light, the stage actor that he really is. We put on stuff about the reporters that are being suppressed and the people that are crying out, and how he's locking people up, and how he's a dictator in his own right. We already have videos. Y'all can look at some of our previous videos. Just look at our playlist and find Zelensky video. We have already done it because it's two sides to a story. We know who Putin is, but we need to know who Zelensky is as well. And he likes the power, and as long as there's a war going on, he gets to sit in that seat as president, and he's making decisions for all the people. This was a bad time to put that man in office for the people of Ukraine and for the world. Because the people like that, they don't care what happens. Just like when the Democrats opened up our borders, they didn't care about the American people, what happened to the people. People coming in here destroying America. They didn't care about that because they wanted votes. It was always about power. It's always about power and the Benjamins, money. So these people some of these people don't want the war to end. And you could do the poll because I got to watch this game.
Yeah, I asked the poll already. Got 630 votes. I said, should Zelensky consider Putin's terms? 46% said yes and 54% said no.
And that means let the war continue.
Yeah.
That's all right. Y'all gonna get your wish because Zelensky gonna make sure y'all get your wish so there'll be no end. That's your resolve there. There will be no end. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. Great conversation. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We just hope for peace, that they could come to agreement, but the way that it's looking, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Because Zelensky doesn't want the war to end, and it's not going to end, and he's going to have people saying the same thing, and they're going to just continue to battle, and he's going to lose more land and more lives.
This is going to be going on for a long time. Then he stays the president of Ukraine. You heard me?
Yeah, it's all right.
He wants to stay president.
He wants to stay president, and he likes the power, and he gets to sit on the world stage. He gets to meet with world leaders, and this is like a dream of his. He likes it, so he wants to go on, and he's going to do all he can to make sure there's no agreement. I promise you that. I promise you that. He's not going to agree. He doesn't want to agree about anything. So it will continue. So God bless y'all, and pray for them. Keep them in your prayers, and maybe the best thing is going to wind up when Trump meets with Putin and there's no agreement, then he needs to step aside and do like Biden did, say nothing and let them battle it out. That's what Biden did, and that seems to work for people versus Trump getting involved trying to bring the war to an end. So they don't want that. They rather just say negative things about him instead of what the situation is going on. And they like a president of the United States that gave them money but did nothing to prevent the war or stop the war.
Yeah, like just imagine all the soldiers' families who are losing their loved ones. Okay, guys.
Yeah, we got to get off. This took up a lot of my time for my game, but God bless y'all. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. You can leave a comment after we go down. And do you think Zelenskyy and is going to agree upon any type of resolution as far as ending the war? Do you think that Trump should include Zelenskyy in the first meeting with Putin? Would that be wise? Do you believe that there are people that's trying to continue this war, that they don't want the war to end? Do you think there's other players in here with other objectives? So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Leave comments after the live because we do look at them, and maybe y'all have if somebody knows a better way to end the war, leave a comment after the chat so we can see what's your resolution, what would be the best remedy for both